Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. In this one I'll be showing you how to get started with MySQL and running on Ubuntu machine, but any machine can work, but I'll be using an Ubuntu one. So let's get started. So first things first, you need to install MySQL. So you'll open up your terminal. If already have MySQL installed, you can skip this step, but for beginners you'll have to install MySQL. So it's very simple. You open up your terminal and type in sudo apt-get install MySQL server, then type in your password. Okay, this one will start downloading and installing MySQL, but as you can see, I'm being told that MySQL is already the newest version, meaning that it's already installed on my machine. So as you can see, I'm running version 5.7. so if you run this command and you don't have MySQL, it will be installed and then you'll be prompted for root password. Okay, make sure you type in a strong password for your root user. So once you have the MySQL installed, it will be installed as a service and it will have to start when your machine starts. It's a service that starts when the machine starts. So first things first, so for instance, you may want to, once you've installed, you want to connect to MySQL. So you type in MySQL -u. Your username is root, but in a future tutorial I'll show you how to add other users. It's not always advisable to connect as root user. Then -p, this one tells the MySQL to prompt you for password, and then you hit enter. You type in the password, the one you created while installing your MySQL. So if your password is correct, you should see a MySQL prompt. This prompt is where you type in your queries, where you create your database, tables, etc. So first things first, once you've installed the MySQL now and connected, there are various options. Let's exit. In the connection string, you can also specify the host. This is where MySQL installs. So for instance, if you have a remote MySQL that accepts remote connection, you can specify the host here. So you type in the IP address. This is just a repetition. It's the same as not specifying the host. No, I got it incorrect. I'm sorry. My incorrect password again. So as you can see here, I've specified the host as 127.0.1, which is localhost. So you can substitute this with a remote machine, like a domain name or a public or a remote public IP address. So once you are connected, we can create a simple database. So create database simple. That one should create a database for you, and then you can show a list of databases by typing show databases. So these are some of them are installed by MySQL, and most of the times you not use them. Like information schema, it's like database that stores metadata about your tables, databases, etc. And then you have another one, performance schema. It's also installed by MySQL, and similarly you have a database also called MySQL. So the others are mine, and as you can see, we have a simple database. So for instance, you may want to use the database that we created. You may want to connect to it, so you say use simple. This one will connect to your database simple. Alternatively, while connecting, you can also specify the database name. Type in the password, then here you specify the database name, which is simple, and type in enter. You type in your password. Okay, so we are now connected to simple. You can see the status by typing /s. That one shows you the status. So the current database is simple. You are connected as a root user. That's all for now. That's the most important thing, to know which database you are connected. It's the same thing here. If you type in S, you see we are still connected to the same simple database. Now once you are connected to a database, you may want to add tables. That's the most common thing in a database, so you may want to add tables. So the command to create tables is simple: create table. Let me call it simple table. We have an ID of type int of length 11, and we can also say it is going to be auto incremented, meaning that MySQL will insert the column for us. Then after doing that, we can say that there is a name. This is just a general, it's nothing serious. Name of virtual 255, variable character length. There can only be one. Okay, sorry. So here we also have to say that it's primary key. I don't know whether, yes, that has created our table. And so once we have created the table, we can also list the tables in a database by saying show tables. It says that we have a simple table, and also we can also describe it. By describing, I mean we can show the columns in the structure of the table. So we say desk simple table. We can also say describe simple table. It's the same thing. So you can see we have an ID column of type int of length 11, which is not nullable. It says null no. It's a primary key, and then it's should be auto incremented by MySQL. And then we have the varchar. We have the name of type variable character length of maximum length of 255 characters. So once we have the table, we can, there's also another way we can show the structure of this table. We can, for instance, we may want to recreate this table in a different database. So you can say show create table simple table. This one is going to print many more details than the describe command. For instance, if you had foreign keys, it would also show them here. If we had unique keys, they would appear here. Anything related to this table would appear here. So if you wanted to create this table in a different database, you just copy from here, create table up to there, and then you recreate it in a different database. Okay, now once we know how to create a table, we may want to insert a few records. So if you describe again desk simple table, we want to insert let's say we want to insert five rows into this table. So there are several ways we can do that. We can say insert into simple table, and then here we specify the columns, ID, name, and then the values that we want to insert. We want to insert 1, and then the name is name1. This one should be quoted. Okay, that one has inserted a record for us. And also remember that we said that ID is auto increment, so we can omit it in insert command. We can say we're going to remove this ID, and then we are going to remove it from the values, and then here we're going to say name2. That one should also insert a record for us. So then once we have these two rows, we may want to list to show everything inside this table. So we say select all from simple table. As you can see, our ID for the second name was auto-populated for us. That's because MySQL is doing that for work for us. So if, for instance, we say again show create table simple table, you can see that it's telling us that our next auto increment value is 3. But at times you may want to start like record 1000, like or 2000. So what you do is you say alter table simple table auto increment is equals to 3000. So which means that our next, if we inserted another row, it's going to be at ID 3000. So this one I'm going to call it name 3000. So what I'm doing is that I'm using my up arrow key to pull up commands from the previous commands that I've typed in, and then I modify them as I want. So if I insert this one and then do another query, select all from simple table, you should see that my ID now has been incremented from 3000. 3000 is my next value. So you can use alter table command to change the value at which auto increment starts. So once we've connected, created sample data, MySQL comes with some sample databases. You may want to use them if you are learning. So if you go to Google and type in search for Sakila sample database, go to dev and look for it under MySQL dev.mysql.com. click here, and then you go here. We have Sakila database where I'm going to download the zip. Okay, I'm going to open it with you can open with any program that opens zip files, and then you extract the scripts. So Sakila DB, I'm going to extract it to my desktop. Extract desktop. Once you extract the two scripts, you have Sakila.sql and then Sakila schema.sql. So the second one is just the schema, the table, how to create tables, the relationship. Then the second one contains data, as the name suggests. So there are several ways to import the scripts. One of them is same as we did previously. You can specify you're going to connect to MySQL as a root user, and then you say you want to be prompted for password. Alternatively, you can also specify your password here. Mine is 1 2 3 4 5 6 if you don't want to be prompted. And then I'm connecting to simple database. Then I want to import the data that's specified under my desktop. The name is Sakila schema.sql. okay, Sakila schema.sql. Sorry, Sakila schema.sql, and then it's going to show you that it's not recommended to use the password on your prompt. So it's good if you just let it prompt you for, as you can see, my command has completed. And then let me just connect without specifying the. So if I show databases, you can see how the Sakila database. So I'll use Sakila. Sorry, it's Sakila, not double L. So, and then you can see show tables. It has all these tables. So if I select from actor, it should be empty. Select all from actor. There's no data. So I want to import the second one. So I'll say MySQL minus. Instead of just re-importing it, you can also type in here source, and then you give the path. Mine is home. Home Chege desktop, and then Sakila data.sql. Home Chege desktop Sakila data. Maybe it should not be quoted. I don't know. I have not tried this again. Let me see. Yes, it is now importing. It should not be quoted, but I think it should. Alternative, instead of doing this, you can also do the same as I did previously. You can just say MySQL p 1 2 3 4 5 6 Sakira, and then you specify the path of the script that you want to import. It's that simple. So let me see. Okay, my command has completed here, and as you can see, I want to query again from the actor table. As you can see, the data has been imported. There are times when these columns when these columns contain very long feed, and then the output is not very clear. You cannot see the data clearly. So there's another, instead of putting a semicolon, you can put a capital G. So instead of seeing at a table, you'll see this kind of a format. It's much readable, especially when you have we have columns with very long data. So also, instead of using a semicolon, you can also use a G. It's the same thing. Capital G will change the format. What else? Creating table, importing. So once you've imported this data, you can query things. You can insert into these tables, but I'll be showing you that in the next tutorial. So I want to show you something else that might interest you. So if I exit, you can there's also a command called MySQL admin, which you can use to create and drop database. So I'll say MySQL admin, and then you specify the same parameters: U for user, root, P. I want to create a database called test2. It's going to prompt for password. So that's another way to create databases. Then you specify the password. So if I connect to MySQL, I should see those tables, those databases show data bases. So we have test2 and test3. Similarly, you can also drop the databases. You can say, instead of create, you can say drop, and then you type in your password, and then it's going to ask you to confirm. This is the only command that asks you whether you want to confirm, and then you say yes, and then it tells you that database test3 has been dropped. Alternatively, you can also, inside the prompt, you can say you can drop database test2. That also should work fine. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more tutorials regarding SQL and MySQL in general. I hope you enjoyed. See you later.